Good evening, everybody. This is George from Rainbow here again. I'm not going to be here tonight for roles of commentary, but I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed doing the red something, red nose specials. That was it. Yes, that was it. Last night for the Swemp League. Um, I had a lovely time and I enjoyed seeing Kermit the Frog. For tonight, I'm going to hand over to Champ Mega Horse and I just have a quick word with Quinton Fortuna, who's here tonight. Hi, Quinton.
Hello, George. Lovely to see you. Great performance last night. Really enjoyed the show.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Yeah. Are you looking forward to your time tonight?
I'm looking forward to it, but I know I can't follow what happened last night. I mean, there were excellent performances from yourself and from all the guest characters that Tato brought along, and from Mr. Megahorse. So I'm just gonna stick to the football, I think, and let the football do the talking.
Yes, yes, you do that. Oh, okay. Champ Mega Horse, you can take over now.
Bye,
Thank you.
George.
Yeah, bye, George. Yeah, thank you very much for that. It was slightly unexpected, but when you turned up in the studio just before the start, it was the only thing we could really do. Um, yeah, this is Division 2 of the Swemp Electronics Football Alliance, and you can see the results from last time, 17 days ago in the league here. Um, Big win for Atletico Newmills that put them top of the table with their win over Grove. Um, Blues, who'd led the table so far, fell to Trumpton with their experimental formation, and Otis and Dangley's continued their run of 100%, although it was 100% defeats. Looking into the table as a quick scan, we see that Atletico New Mills are a point clear of Blues and Trumpton, but then three teams just 2 points further back than that. And down at the bottom of the table, Gondor against one of the bottom two today, as you'll see, fixtures for today. Quinton, um, give us your two top games you're looking forward to today.
Well, the one that stands out immediately is the one at the very bottom of the fixture list, Trumpton versus Atleti, third versus first. It's tight at the top, so that could make all the difference. If Trumpton get a victory, it'll blow the league wide open. Um, I am also looking forward to Radaby against Roundhay. I think there's a little bit of a gap now from the top eight to Radaby and those below. So Radaby really need a win tonight to catch up on that middle section.
Superb, yeah. I mean, it may be a Swedish league here that we've got going on, but that's very much a West Yorkshire derby as well. So there's a lot to look forward to with that. You can see in the top left-hand corner, the first game has been decided already, and it's going to be Otis versus the 76ers. And 76ers, of course, we must mention their last match, the 2-all draw against Los Urracas, which resulted in a 5-4 aggregate victory in the League Cup.
Yeah, excellent from the 76ers. They were great throughout the cup in the run to the final. Commiserations to Iraqis because they were with a few minutes to go looking to collect the trophy themselves, but 76ers showed resilience after that. Milevsky sending off Sigalko getting the winner late on, and yeah, big congratulations to them.
Yeah, it was an absolutely thrilling final. The two legs were both highly entertaining all the way through. For today, we just have a quick look at their last league game, of course. It was a 2-1 defeat to Stackington, which was probably a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, Stackington have been rubbish this season. So to see them beat 76 was quite a surprise. But I mean, there was still some good performance on the 76ers side. It was just Stackington were more clinical, I think, in the performance, and Nicky Ferenko in particular, who picked up the man of the match.
For today, their team, they've gone obviously with their usual formation, just the odd little personnel change.
Yeah, Takinadi's come back in for Milevsky after he let him down in that second leg of the final, getting sent off in the first half. But wherever you look at that lineup, there's plenty of strength throughout it. Interesting to see Del Piero back in there. He's been quite prolific this season and got a goal in the first leg of the final. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get another goal tonight.
Certainly, I think there's goals in the team, and the OTs are not scoring. When we say there's goals in the team, they have only scored 7 league goals this season, which puts them as one of the weakest teams for attacking. But I think great shot accuracy. They've got nearly 70% shot accuracy this season, but their shot to goal rate is one of the lowest in the division. And hopefully for them, they can take their cup form into the league today. Rui Costa set there as the team captain for today. And for the Oatcakes, 13th in the league. Last match, a 4-0 defeat to one of the bigger teams in the division, Dalgety Rangers.
Yeah, there's no disgrace in that, but I think their main problem is, other than aside from the obvious goals conceded in that one, as you mentioned, the 76 have only scored 7 this season. The Otis have only got 3. So that they need to start putting the ball in the back of the net, otherwise they're not going to pick up 3 points in many games at all. So they've got a chance tonight at home to the 76ers. Will be tired from the cup exploits. Got 3 up top, so hopefully they can create some chances for them.
Certainly got chances. I mean, they have scored at least this season, which was a bit of a worry for them after a few games. But recalled into the team San Nazario, the injury to Bent. He's not quite recovered in time for today, and Agote is on the bench. I mean, for the OTs, there's no real stat that's impressive for them, other than the fact that they're getting slightly better. Is what I would probably say. And we're heading to the match straight away. Hopefully. Will be treated to some goals. And Kenneth Peterson refereeing. Well, we've kicked off at Pikelet Village and already going forward, the 76ers have had a chance, and Sigalco it was. And Sigalco's and Nedved and Del Piero involved. Baumer with a chance. So plenty going on. And the OTs came forward. 76ers just under a bit of pressure as Barakat puts one over. The OTs having a great start to this game. Steve Phillips doing well for them in goal as well. 25 minutes into the game and still no breakthrough for either side. Sigalko with another chance on Riquelme's corner, and Nedved scores the opening goal after the half-an-hour mark. Probably some relief to the 76ers after the little spell they had earlier.
Yeah, it's been end-to-end early on, but that might settle 76ers down now.
It looks like it might have. The OTs are not quite getting anywhere near as involved as they were. Willie Jamison's had a yellow card. And at half time, as we approach half time, I think that was cleared off the line for the OTs then.
And 76ers, I think Riquelme has just hit the post. So it's it's a tight game so far. 1-0 at half time. Cafu and Nedved are the best performers on the pitch for the 76ers, but it's only been the last sort of 10-15 minutes of the half that OTs have managed to get above sixes with the performances, other than the exception of Steve Phillips, who's had another good game in goal.
Yeah, the OTs had that one chance to score so far that was it was pretty decent from what I recall. And then the 76ers 50% shot accuracy so far.
Yeah, they'll be pleased with the amount of chances they've created, but as you mentioned, goal scoring's been a bit of a problem. We saw Otis conceded 4 last game, so if 76ers are going to get a few goals, then tonight's one of the matches you'd hope they could do it. Both teams are still in this. Otis have played fairly well, although 76ers are on top.
They are, but 76ers, their goal average is just 1 per game at the moment. So is this all they can achieve? You'd imagine, with the 5 goals he got in the cup in the last 2 matches, they should have more of a chance today. Look into the goal. So Cafu's played it in, and Nedved has won header up against Whitley to score the opening goal. I'm pretty sure someone had a ball cleared off the line. It was Graham Marchant's header cleared off the line by Paolo Maldini.
Yeah, they're unlucky. They nearly got back into it. As I say, Riquelme hit the post for the 76ers. So although goal scoring has been a problem, there's been plenty of chances created, and it's just narrow margins keeping the scoreline down at the minute.
Yeah, Neil Aspin, probably the best defender so far. I know Jeff Whitley's been quite well rated, but yeah, Neil Aspin with his 5 tackles and 3 1 so far, keeping his team in the game a little bit more. Not much else to report from the OTs. 76ers, I mean, they are probably edging it. I mean, they're edging it in goals, but they're edging it in performance, I would say, as well now.
Yeah, that's it. Most of them are from at 7s out. There's only Takinardi and Rui Costa aren't really on the game today. But it's that midfield battle. I think they're just winning at the moment. Is Barakat for the Otis? I think he's lost all his tackles, lost all his headers. So yeah, they're just on top in that regard, and there could be more goals in this.
Let's hope so. 1-0. it doesn't quite reflect that there has been some action in the game. We'll get this second half going and go to 60 minutes. Sigalko's immediately had a chance in the second half. He's pretty lively today. We're going to the
Yeah, he could get a goal.
substitutes. Yeah, it's a chance coming forward, but nothing really to report. Sorry, I did interrupt you there as I went towards the substitutes. For the OTs, in terms of things, it's just the substitute as usual. And Steve Phillips is on an 8, so there'll be no changes there. 76ers, they do have something planned with their substitutes. And we can see Kesman for Sigalko if no goal, and Sigalko didn't score, so Kesman will come on. And the second substitute is Van Bommel for the lowest performing central midfielder, which Rui Costa is the one that will come off at that point. The 83% being the lowest, I don't think there's really a concern too much about the other substitute. So half an hour left. Will there be anything else going on? We just began with a handball. 65 minutes, still 1-0. Anything can happen here. OTs are looking like they're getting into it a little bit more. Mawson with a chance, but then Del Piero's put in a rebound and made it 2-0. And I think this is probably game over now.
Yeah, you'd think so. And well played, Del Piero's been in fairly decent form recently, so he's kept his performance.
Takanadi taking a yellow card as we head into this final 10 minutes. Marchant has been booked now as well, so 3 bookings for the OTs. And just into those last few minutes, it looks pretty comfortable for 76ers, and they'll be pleased to get the 3 points. And the 2 goals is a little bonus for them, but not much else to report from the game. A solid 2-0.
Yeah, 76ers deserved it on the face of things, but looking at the performance of the defenders, I mean, Nesta with a 9, not man of the match, Del Piero with an 8, man of the match, but Cafu, Buffon, Nesta, all performing well. So it's not had it all their own way. Otis have done fairly decent performance. Did pick things up a little bit in terms of goal in the second half, but you can see from the shots that 76ers were on top throughout.
Certainly were, yeah. Good 3 times as many shots on target there is certainly probably how it reflects the game. Otis had that great chance at the end of the first half, and you just think if that had gone in, would that have changed the outlook on the game? We went into quite late on, 71 minutes. Del Piero saved by Phillips, and he taps it back in afterwards. You know, it's little things like that. If that header had gone in before, if Steve Phillips had held onto the ball, would we be looking at a different result?
If Otis scored 3, we probably would. So yeah, it's just the narrow margins of the game. Yeah, but say 76 have been on top throughout, so I think it's a deserved result.
Yeah, I mean, Aspin continued to play well, didn't he, with his 4 key tackles. Willie Jameson, very, very good in the air throughout, but the team were just outdone by some world stars, really.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, performances throughout 76ers side are a lot better. They'll be a little bit disappointed. Like you say, Sigalko was lively but didn't score. Kesman's come on and got an 8, so good substitution there. And Rui Costa's come off, Van Bommel to perform better again. So everything's gone right for 76ers.
Very good there. Half the game played in the middle of the pitch. On to the second game, and we've got really no chance versus Dalgety Rangers, which I think this is a game that really should be getting the audience on edge for this one. Dalgety Rangers last game, a 4-0 win over Otis. We did see that before. Pretty good for them, really.
Yeah, they've played well this season so far. They're top 5, are they? So they've played really well this season, and they've got a good squad. So it'll be interesting to see what team they put out tonight.
Very interesting to see that these teams are separated by 2 goals at the moment. Very little in it from the 2. Just if we look into their lineup for today, we see that the team is, I think it's unchanged.
Yeah, it's a good team, isn't it? I mean, Elba and Van Nistelrooy, there's plenty of goals in those. I'm a big fan of Emerson in the centre of park. He gets plenty of assists, and he's always a strong performer. And a good pair of fullbacks as well. There's Razou and Zanetti, so it's a strong team all around. It's no surprise that they're doing as well as they are.
Certainly, and if we take a look at the stats that have just come up on your screen now, we can see that they're averaging 3 goals a game, so plenty going on in attack. They're not afraid to shoot over nearly 9 shots on target each match, slightly lower than 50% in possession, but they're high up in the stats for all areas, I would say.
Yeah, the real good performances so far this season, and it's plenty of goals, isn't it, as well? And that's the thing with this. So although the formation, the 4-3-1-2, has its critics, it's certainly performing well.
Yeah, and that third best shot to goal rate is certainly on their side. But their opposition for today is really no chance. And last game, they took a win over Radaby, the team that really are not living up to their potential, but a win over Radaby is a good win.
Yeah, it is. It's I mean, they were helped by the red card for Taribo West, but they had some good performances. Matt Viduka, yeah,
Yeah,
probably to get an early pre-match pie, post-match pie, sorry, and Giggs and Ferdinand also performed well. So, I mean, they've had a good season so far, particularly in defence where they've kept the 4 clean sheets.
I do believe it was pre and post match in terms of the pies. For their team today, there's no first team changes. We can see that Lee Hendry's been brought onto the bench at the expense of David Dunn.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's. I mean, it's just like for like, isn't it? Really, mediocre midfielder for mediocre midfielder. So it's no surprise Hendry's not been involved so far, and they're performing quite well in the league. It's a big fan of the lineup. I think there's some strong people in that one. Richard Wright was probably better for his 97, 98 exploits than on 0102, but he's still a very good keeper on this. And Igor Biscan in defensive mid is a very strong part of this team. So yeah, it's an interesting lineup. There's plenty of Leeds influence up front, bit of Man United across the midfield, and then a couple of Liverpool near the back, and Aston Villa on the bench in centre back.
Indeed, yeah, there's certainly little themes going on, isn't there? And the stats on the screen for you now, you can see that this is a team that relies on a good, solid defence. You know, the second in the amount of goals conceded, and they've kept the most clean sheets in the division. The problem for them really is that they just don't seem to convert their amount of shots into goals so well.
No, they don't. They'll need to today, so they'll need that strong defence against the Rangers. And they've got plenty of people on the pitch who can cause problems at the other end. So hopefully Hasselbank and Viduka on their behalf can convert the shots today.
And without further ado, let's get this game kicked off. Lee Hendry taking that number 23 shirt for the rest of the season. Peter Herland refereeing today, and we shall get started. And I think we'll get started, but we're not seeing much going on so far in the first 10 minutes. We've got the Jers have scored, and that was a 30-yard strike from Ruud van Nistelrooy.
There's no chance he's scoring from outside the box.
There he is. We've certainly been much more able to get into the game a little bit more now. Now some things are actually happening, but the Jers, they look like they're on top. Ratings-wise, quite similar. Nicky Franco, I think, hit the crossbar then. And with just 10 minutes to go till half-time, it's not been as entertaining as we expected, but the Jers certainly are dominating. Veron's just had a chance for Really, which is probably their first big chance of the game. And half-time approaches. I think a team talk will be absolutely vital for Really. Here we are.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one, hasn't it? It was fairly quiet to start with. It did liven up a little bit, but you can see from both keepers on an 8, it's going to be a tight one today. Biscan in defensive mid for Really with an 8 as well, so he's marshalling the defence pretty well. Other than that, there's no real standout performers. Obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy with his 30-yard strike is the difference between the two teams so far.
It was quite the strike. Let's have a little look at what happened. Yeah, nothing in the first 10 minutes of action. And a throw in from Zanetti, and Van Nistelrooy volleys it. Yeah, that's. I wonder if it bounced at all. It sounds like quite the goal to watch.
Yeah, it's. I mean, from my position here, it was an absolute blinder he scored.
we're just going to look at the players. I realise I haven't clicked on the team stats or anything, but let's have a little look at the stuff going on here. Igor Bischan winning lots of tackles, winning half his headers. He's that one standout player in midfield.
Yeah, he's keeping him in it, isn't he, at the moment, really? And Richard Wright having a good performance in goal, so he's proving his critic myself wrong. They just need to start performing up front, like you said before the game. They've had 4 shots and only 2 on target so far, and that's the problem, that they've converted none of them into a goal.
There we are. Yeah, the 4 shots are 2 on target. De Gers with a very good amount of shot accuracy. Not quite converting into goals, of course, but 1-0. It's tight. Anything could sort of happen as we head into the last bit. I mean, that is pretty even split in terms of the action areas, despite the real possession.
Yeah, so you can't get any more even than that, can you? The Rangers have been on top, but you wouldn't rule out really coming back into it. It is a close one, and both keepers are playing well. So if they keep doing that, it's going to keep it tight.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Lizarazu having a great game in terms of his defensive attributes, going on for winning all his challenges. Van Nistelrooy, has he got an 8 purely for that one attempt?
Quite possibly, yeah. He doesn't do an awful lot else, does he, Rude? But he knows where the back of the net is.
And just using a bit of horsepower to smash it in. So we'll go straight to 60 minutes. Neither team have got any plans for half-time substitutes based on performances so far. And it looks like De Gers have been coming forward a little bit more. Elbert a bit involved at the beginning of the second half. And a chance for Giggs, who's put it over the bar for really with the banana shot in the yellow kit. 61 minutes gone it is for the substitutes. Really, their plans for substitutes? Well, I mean, there is a striker option that's going to happen, which is Sahar, and I think it's got to be for Hasselbank, regardless of ratings.
Yeah, it looks like he's picked up a too well.
Yeah, he certainly picked up something, hasn't he? He has got a potential shin injury. And then the other substitute is going to be of Lee Hendry coming on for Harry Kewell.
It is Hendry's big chance, isn't it? It's his first call up is see if he can make a difference.
And Veron has come slightly further forward. And then for De Gers of 6 or below, I mean, they've got to make a couple of substitutes at least here. So the 6s are for Nikiforenko and 2 centre-backs. Now, in your view, would you do 1 centre-back?
I would take Kivu off, yeah. I wouldn't take them both off, just in case. But yeah, with him having that yellow card, I think he's got to go, hasn't he?
And Brocek has been, as far as I'm aware, playing up front for De Gers this season, hasn't he? He's been playing up front with Robin, but he's also he's played actually. Sorry, I did substitute the midfield, didn't I? So it would be a Agahawa substitute going on here.
Yeah, he's quality in that position. Yeah, be best man for the job.
I'm looking at it thinking I'm taking a striker off as that happened, and then substituting defence. Okoronkwo just slots in perfectly into the role there for Kivu. So the 2 subs made for.
Yeah, George knows a lot about Okoronkwo. I think he knows he's left-sided as well as right-sided, so he can slot in there alongside left-footed Walter Samuel tonight.
Yeah, if he was here now, he'd certainly be making some comment on Okoronkwo and gutsy weather. We'll head into the last half hour. Can anything happen? Will we get another goal, or will that breakthrough of 1-0 be enough for De Gers? It seems like both teams are going for it though, and Aymar has scored. It is 2-0 to De Gers. I think that'll certainly ease that pressure for them as Van Nistelrooy makes it 3-0. And I don't think I expected this in terms of a really defensive performance.
No, Rangers are playing really well the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Bischan's still playing well for Real E, but De Gers, when they get going, they get scoring some goals, don't they? A chance there for Hendry, who's come close to scoring, but a 3-0 comprehensive victory and man of the match for Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be delighted, but so why the long face, Ruud? I mean, he scored 2 goals, he had an excellent performance. Imar's played really well as well up top there. So great performance all round. And Elbear clipped the post at the start of the second half as well, so it could have been even more for them. Great performance from Rangers. Really, there's only really Biscan and Beckham probably that's coming out with any credit. They're going to be disappointed with that performance, being so close together in the league, but the better team won the night.
The better team certainly did win. So you've mentioned the early chance in the second half. Yep, Elbear clipping the post with a header, getting above Sammy Houpier. Good spot there. Then we had the goals. So Zanetti's cross into Aymar, who just gets himself unmarked and pops one in. And then straight away on the next attack, we've got Elbear into Van Nistelrooy, who's just, I mean, it's always a case of once you got yourself in space, if you're good enough, you'll put the ball in the net.
Yeah, and they have been doing all season, as we've seen, haven't we? So they keep up the average of 3 goals a game. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with if they keep up this form.
Yes, I mean, it's so close to those top 6 in the table that 3 points is, it's almost, it feels like it's worth more than 3 at this stage of the season, if you know what I mean, in some regard. Look at Bischan's numbers there. He's 5 tackles won out of his 6, winning 6 headers as well. There's no wonder he stood out in his team.
Yeah, he's played really well. Biscan is quality in that defensive midfield position. He's one of the best players in the game, I think, in that place. But Gareth Southgate as well, let's not forget him. He's won 8 of his 9 tackles, 5 of them key. Just needs to start learning how to head the ball next.
Yeah, not a single attempt there. Beckham seemed to be a little bit more comfortable defensively than going forward for the game. Obviously, no goal attacking worth reporting for them, of course. 2 assists for Zanetti for De Gers today.
Yeah, he's great in the fullback position. I mean, one of them he did just throw it into Ruud van Nistelrooy, so you can't really take too much credit for that. But he played well going forward. He always offers a threat down there, and be pleased with the forward lineup of Elbear getting an assist and Ruud getting 2 goals as well.
It is quite rare, isn't it, for a player to get an assist by handball?
Yeah, I mean, some people scored by handball, but we won't go into the 1986 World Cup.
Did something happen in that one?
Yes, there was something happened, but I can't remember the details.
Oh, Madonna, that was it. Yeah, Madonna with something. So yeah, really, 4 chances to score, just didn't quite click for them. I don't even think it was a goalkeeping performance of that stopped them. Really, I think it was just they're just not on form today. De Gers, I mean, they're shooting. They're always good for shooting. And I don't know what else to say from this game. Just really well done to De Gers.
Yeah, really well done. Yeah.
Really saying well done to De Gers. Match 3. Now this one, a really, really big bottom of the table clash. If Sons of Gondor do not get a point from this game, then the Danglies will be off the bottom of the table and ahead of Gondor. Gondor's last game, a 2-1 defeat to Roundhay Park Avenue. Nothing disappointing from that. Roundhay are one of the top teams in the division.
Yeah, not a bad performance at all. And Romo there with his 9 had an excellent performance, didn't he? So I mean, this game, I don't want to curse it, but it's got entertainment written all over it, hasn't it? It'll be extremely interesting to see if Danglish can get off the bottom. But Gondor have had some good performances this season. They're looking to be have as few points as they do.
I know, yeah, just the 1 point for them so far. They'll be absolutely desperate to get a victory today. The only change to the starting lineup sees that Lacey has come in for Frank Lampard, who's now on the subs bench.
Yeah, well, he's not been performing at his best, has he? Super goals in midfield there. So Lacey's going to come alongside Romo and see if they can do any better. But it's a solid lineup. They've given themselves a chance with Trundle and Thomas up front. They might get some goals. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they get on.
They might even have been better with Tondel and Trumas. It might well have been a better strike force. Yeah, Gondor. You're looking at the statistics we've got here that they are only in the top 10 of the division. Bearing in mind there are only 14 teams with goals conceded. That there are 4 teams worse than them for goals conceded, and that their shot accuracy is also the 10th best. But yeah, it's certainly, this is something that they really, really need today. let's get into the match for them. Willie Guerre still deputising for Roger Freestone, who's in the last match of his band, but he's played well as well. And for the Danglies today, last game, the defeat to Aracas, which, I mean, it was a good game, wasn't it, for Danglies? Just disappointing that they didn't come out with anything for Wooder.
Yeah, they played really well and took the lead early on, and they'd had a bit of a switch in the formation, haven't they, in recent weeks, which seems to be paying dividend. It's just stick that 7 in defensive positions in front of Dudek and hope the top 3 can cause the damage. I mean, both teams, neither of them have kept a clean sheet so far this season. It'll be interesting to see if Cinema Pongal can make any difference now that he's come on then, if he can start getting the goals for Danglies.
Yeah, this is a team where you're looking at the statistics that the only thing they're not bottom for is the number of shots on target that they've had. They're averaging slightly more than OTs this season. Everything else they are bottom. That 11th place is a joint 11th with the other teams in there with no clean sheets. They need goals, and Florent Cinema Pongol is called into the squad for the first time this season. That is at the expense of Sheru.
Yeah, it's a surprise because Shearer is probably one of the players with the better stats. It doesn't quite transform into performances a lot of the time for him. David Thompson's pretty good as well sometimes on this game, so I'd like to see a bit more of him performing this season. But it's not a bad line. Now they've gone to 4 at the back rather than the sweeper system, which wasn't working for them. And Camera, he got a goal out last time, so can he keep up his form?
We do know that Wooder is looking forward to the recall of Rigobert Song, who's serving the final match of his suspension. He seems like he's been out for quite a long time so far. Prediction for this match?
Well, I've predicted entertainment. I wouldn't like to say we'll have a winner in particular, but I'm going to go for goals for each team. I'm going to see them not keep the record of no clean sheets, so they'll keep going, and 2-2, let's say.
2-2. Sten Johansson refereeing for this game from the Vetch Field, which has been used twice in the last couple of weeks for the cup final, of course. Kicking off, who's going to get the first chance? He's come forward, and a chance for Thomas for Gondor has just put one off target, and Van der Hoon with a chance for them as well. They are looking the stronger team, but Camera has had a chance, and El Hadj Diouf makes it 1-0 to the Danglies. 20 minutes into the game now, we are at 1-0 to the away side, who are looking quite dangerous. Cinema Pongol on a yellow card. Gondor had the start of the game, and Danglies have just come back into it.
Yeah, it's come against a runner player, that one, and it seems to have taken all the stuffing out of the Gondor team so far.
And now it seems to have taken the stuffing out of the entire match. Heading towards half time, we have got chances for Thomas. It's a good save by Yerchi Dudek. And we are almost there. Thomas with a chance, still 1-0, and Dudek has certainly kept his side in the game.
Yeah, he's performing really well. Gondor, like you said, they started well. They'll be spitting mad that El Hadj Diouf has put the Danglies in front. But Cinema Pongal, he's come and he's made a real impact, but unfortunately he's been on one of the opposition rather than for his attacking play on the Danglies team. So it's, I mean, great performance so far from Danglies to be 1-0 up in this crucial relegation battle.
Very, very crucial. Obviously, no actual relegation, but it's a battle for the avoiding the wooden spoon, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's it. It's no one wants to win a wooden spoon, do they? But you can see Gondor were on top early on. It's just that one shot on target. So Gondor Gure is going to be very disappointing to have not kept it out.
Oh, I mean, it was almost the Wooder spoon, certainly, if it wasn't going to this one, wasn't it? Sorry, terrible jokes. Could have been the last night's show. Action areas, Gondor have taken it to Danglies with possession and with their areas of the pitch, but just 1-0 down. Looking into the goal, we've got a header on from Camera, and Diouf has managed to get into it before anyone else has managed to get there. So 1-0. Gondor, it's been okay. They have a couple of players who are looking like they're taking a bit of a knock, though.
Yeah, Van der Hoon and Thomas, and they've probably been the most lively in terms of getting the chances for for Gondor. I mean, there's no one who's really taking the game by the scruff of the neck for them. And midfield are performing okay, but you don't want to see 6 and 7s. You're not going to win any matches of this with 6 or 7s in this league.
No, certainly not with the entire team doing that. It's Gary letting himself down a little bit, I imagine, from being up there quite high in his average ratings. Titi Camara has had 2 chances and failed to hit the target on both, but he's avoided being substituted at half time because if he hadn't had a shot, he would have been replaced.
It's probably a bit harsh on him as well because he's not been credited with an assist for heading it on to Diouf. So I mean, he has got some redeeming qualities as well. But yeah, I mean, Jersey do it with his 8. That's the difference between the 2 teams so far, other than Diouf's goal. They really need to just start showing a bit more attacking threat, Danglish, maybe, because we can see they are weak at the back, Gondor, or they have been so far this game.
Yes, yeah, they've exposed the Gondor defence a couple of times and certainly found their input. Just checking for substitute wise, Gondor to manage their subs. I think we will be making the 2 changes here of Thomas off for Sidibe and Van der Hoon off for Frank Lampard, and we'll head back into the game. Got to watch Williams potentially for an injury a bit later on. Danglish, no substitutes being made because everything is going okay for them in terms of what their conditions were. Second half kicks off and we've got the Gondor attack straight away. Mamadi Sidibe with a chance. It was not to be. Danglish trying to come back into this second half rather than letting Gondor take advantage. We'll just check the substitutes which have been requested. Will they need to make that 3rd change? I mean, really, I think while 1 goal down, I don't think they'd be looking to risk losing the 3rd substitute. I don't know. What do you think?
There's not too much more of an attacking threat on the bench now, is there? Now that Big Mama's come off there, it's only really defenders who aren't performing so well. I probably wouldn't risk a 3rd substitution just because. So there's nothing really that could make a difference. I don't think Monk or Roberts are going to make much of a difference to the scoreline.
And we do know that Gondor have had a goalkeeper sent off already this season, so probably not the wisest thing to do. Danglish, they'll be making no changes for the rest of this game, even though their 2 strikers are both on 5s. We'll see.
Probably a bit harsh on camera that because he seemed to have a dribble at just a few minutes ago, and then he went down to a 5 after, so he must have tripped over the ball or done something.
And I assume that his assist wasn't credited because it was classed as a loose ball. Maybe it just hit him on the head. Going into our last half hour of the game, Lee Trundle has had a chance to equalise, but Dudek is on inspired form so far. With 15 minutes left, and Sidibe again coming forward. Trundle and a chance for Frank Lampard. But Danglish still holding on. 10 minutes left in the game. Romo, Lacey, Lampard, all with chances. I don't know how this is being kept out, but Dudek is having an absolutely world-beating game. And this is going to the end of the match. And it is 1-0 to FC Danglish, who move off the bottom of the table and in fact climb at least 2 places as a consequence of this win. Now, well done to the Danglish, but have a look at the Gondor side. Not a single player less than 7.
Yeah, they're solid, and Makelele started performing better, and Big Mama's changed things coming off the bench with getting an 8. They looked much more of an attacking threat. They've only been kept out by an excellent goalkeeping performance from Jersey Dudek and good playing defence from Coloma.
And if you take away the 2 players that are far forward, in fact, everyone has had a great game. I think both managers can take some positives. I think that Mr. Swan will be gutted that his side have lost a game that they potentially could have won. But Wooder and the many fans, I know there are some fans that aren't managers of any team in the league who are getting into the Danglish this season. They'll be delighted. Look at that, 11 shots, 10 on target for Gondor.
Yeah, I mean, they've been robbed, haven't they, really, by the stats, but I mean, it's a solid defensive performance, you could argue, from the Danglies. So, I mean, they'll be absolutely thrilled to have got the 3 points. Gondor on another day that they've got a couple of goals, but they just need to start make sure they convert those shots into goals. 10 shots without a goal against the team who started the day bottom of the league is just not good enough.
That is the definition of that interesting verb, champed, isn't it? One shot on target going in against that absolute onslaught. 65% possession they still had. They absolutely battered Danglies, and they've held out so well. Claude McAlealy attempted 17 tackles, 74 passes. Look at Chris Coleman's passing as well.
Yeah, and Paul Williams is done over 70. So, I mean, you can see how much Gondor have dominated possession and the ball. But I mean, 17 tackles from Macaulay, it just shows how much Dangley's had in that defensive midfield zone as well, doesn't it, in terms of possession? I suppose that they're just losing the battle on headers and things, really. I mean, Romo, 7 headers, but only 1-1. And Thomas and Trundle, or Trundle and Thomas, didn't really have a sniff at the other end. Big Mama came on and got an 8, but Dangley's played really well.
And take a look at that. I mean, most players are putting some decent tackles. Salif Diao winning 5 tackles, Kvarma winning 2 key tackles, and just the contrast of the very few passes completed by the Dangley side, but they did everything they needed to do to get that win.
Yeah, I mean, Pellegrino at a rate of 1 pass every half an hour. Dudek never passing at all, completed in the game. It just shows, doesn't it, that you don't always have to pass the ball to win the games. You've just got to get the ball in the back of the net. And El Hadj Diouf, 1 shot, 1 on target, 1 goal. That's all it needs. He's got an 8 with a decent performance.
Got to be fairly gutted losing to an El Hadj Diouf goal, but we'll go into the next match. Well, that's certainly been an entertaining one for today. Bottom of the table clash, but full of action. Next game, Stackington Colliery up against the Dublin Blues. Blues, of course, flying up the table so far. Stackington's last game, we have seen that so far, haven't we? The 2-1 win over 76ers. They've played both cup finalists in their last 2 league games and come up with a win and a defeat, so not too bad. Today's team sees small amount of changes. We've got the switch between Romoshenko and Milevsky, which I know you want to comment on. Missing today, Volodenkov is out for a month. Baumer has moved across into the left-sided position, and Paulo Sergio has come in. And up front, Yavin in for Ulf Kirsten.
Yeah, well, in the last league game, Yavin came off the bench, got an 8 and played fairly well. I think Ulf Kirsten's unlucky to be dropped out the 16 because he's had decent performances so far this season. Song Jonguk was another one who's on the bench there, who came off the bench last time and got an 8. So there's certainly match changes on the bench. But yeah, in terms of Milevsky and Romoshenko, I think Romoshenko will offer much more of a goal scoring threat from midfield than Milevsky. And I do like Milevsky just patrolling in front of the back 3. Paulo Sergio adds plenty of experience into that attacking midfield zone, and I fancy him to get a goal today.
So do I. I hope so. But yeah, this is a team that concedes far too many goals. I mean, they do get a lot of shots on target for the shots that they take, but they're conceding far too many goals. And the addition of Keeming goal recently has stemmed that tide. Three games, 4 conceded, compared with Barthez 10 in 2. There's some positives going forward. They'll be up against a team second in the league, though, Dublin Blues, who've offered contracts to all of those players who are unhappy. There are, 7 of them at the moment. Last time round, Dublin Blues beaten by the Trumpton side, who went for a very different sort of formation.
Yeah, I mean, Blues have only conceded 4 all season, so concede 2 at home to Trumpton was a little bit of a surprise. But Trumpton are a real strong team, and like you said, they had a different system out last time, which probably just caught them a little bit cold. So not so many good performances on the Blues side. Saeed and Van Nistelrooy had done well, but they need to perform better tonight.
And it's a completely unchanged 16 as far as I'm aware as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much you can change in that, really, is there? excellent lineup. I do like the doubles heads on the wing. Big fan of Zé Roberto, as I probably mention every time. But yeah, I mean, Nicky Ferenko, Van Nistelrooy, Saeed, they're all on the opposition team as well. So it depends which of the clones perform better.
Attack of the Clones. Let's get started. And Morgan Norman is a great name for a referee. Blues in there. I think that's the first time we've seen that kit, isn't it? It's like a faded Chelsea away from the mid-90s.
Yeah, they're probably sponsored by Coors, aren't they?
I'd imagine so, yes. It's an iconic kit, that one, isn't it? Let's get going on with the match. See if anyone will make that breakthrough early on. Not much going on so far. And a chance for DA Gat, who puts one over the top of the bar. And a chance again for a Gat. He's looking very, very lively, Didier Gat. It seems to be all Stackington so far. We know that teams have been very much on the counter today to get the opening goals. Yellow card for Walter Samuel, and there's a chance going forward for the Blues, who come forward. Nicky Ferenko saved by Keem, and another one for Nicky Ferenko as well. Paulo Sergio and Yavin hits the bar. It's now going end to end. And to come up towards half time, who's going to get the opening goal? We've got really, this is more the Blues on the attack at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, they've come back into it, hasn't it? And that colour scheme is absolutely horrendous.
It is one of the hardest ones to see. On a goal for Nicky Ferenko. It is 1-0 to Stackington approaching half time. Oh, well, I think it's a bit of a smash and grab after that. First, the start to the half was quality, but then they fell apart and have just surprised with that opening goal, I think.
Yeah, it's been a topsy-turvy performance, hasn't it? Stackington started off better. Blues came back into it, and Nicky Ferenko's nicked a goal just on the stroke of half time. But looking at the ratings, Gims played well in goal, so he's kept a minute while Blues are on the attack. But Nicky Ferenko's best performer on the pitch by a mile. Paulo Sergio's also playing well, and Taribo West, in contrast for the Blues, didn't play well last time when for Radaby. We've seen with a red card earlier. He's got a 5 on this time, so he's not having a great best performance in the league so far.
No, certainly could be better. That one shot on target. They've had 4 chances. A Gap missing 2 of those, and Yavin hitting the bar, and then the 1 goal coming through from Nicky Ferenko. Blues very accurate with their shooting. Yeah, I just think that it's that 22% of tackles won that is counting against the Blues, I imagine.
Yeah, they've not been at it today. Perhaps that loss in the last game as well has just knocked their confidence a little bit. But if they start well in this second half, they could turn it round.
Certainly, they have looked pretty lively despite the fact that they're 1 goal down. The goal, so what have we got? Nicky Ferenko taking on Walter Samuel, running, going past West, then going past Van Bommel. He's taken on 3 players known for decent tackling and then smashed it in. He's got to be pleased with that goal. It sounds like the goal of the day. Well, probably the second best goal of the day so far if you take the Van Nistelrooy strike.
Yeah, that's it. It's Sergei Ferenko there with all his dribbling. Yeah, excellent goal, excellent performance all around from him.
And yeah, Stackington just doing what they've needed to do so far, not really passing it too much. Everyone trying to get some tackles in, but really they've been second best and they're 1-0 up, I would say.
Well, yeah, I suppose looking at the stats of things, but look at the player ratings. It's they're on top in terms of that, and so Blues players really need to start performing better in the second half to come back into it. So Saeed's potentially picked up a bit of a knock for him. West's on a 5, keepers on a 6, defenders are all playing pretty poorly. So yeah, it's not been the best of performances from both teams, but it's made for an entertaining first half.
And we'll go to 60 minutes for both teams. Get started. Yellow card immediately there. Was that Van Nistelrooy?
Yeah, it could have been.
What did he do? Just not like the whistle and shout at the referee or something like that. And Njai's taking a yellow card for Stackington. And a chance for Van Nistelrooy. He's equalised. It's 1-1. And there, that was the goal that had been coming.
Yeah, it's they've been on top at the start of the second half, so be interesting to see what happens over these substitutions.
Sylvester is withdrawn, and in terms of other substitutes, there will be one more substitute for the team. Taking a look at what's happening for them, we will be losing Yavin and the performance there on a 6, and it will be Ruud van Nistelrooy coming on to see if he can do the same for other teams as he's been doing today. For the Blues, bad or tired at 60 is the instruction here. We've got a clear tired in Saeed. I mean, that would probably be an Agahauer to centre mid and Van Bommel moving further back.
Yeah, I put Van Bommel in defensive mid. I suppose you with Agahauer, he's probably better attacking mid, isn't he? So Nicky Franco's 20 in centre mid. That's one option, isn't it?
It's a lot of switching around when the team today haven't given in any instructions, so we'll just make the one change on there. And for other things, bad or tired. So will there be anything else happening? We've got Zeriberto. He's not there. Zeriberto, Lucio,
Potter's the same
West,
fitness as Zeriberto.
Totti. Yeah, just looking at the sort of bad version of it at the moment. Would you take off Taribo West or what would you do? I know he's not tired, but he has been playing badly.
He's not tired. He's improved a bit this second half, hasn't he? I probably wouldn't change him, to be honest, now.
Well, Totti, the Totti change could happen. I mean, they could be bringing on an attacking mid.
Yeah, I'd bring David Collins in for that position for Totti.
There we go then. 1-1, last half hour. And who's going to get the second goal for their team? Is anyone going to get the second goal for their team? The team just seems quite happy to let the game pass by. We could have talked about anything else going on there at all. Van Nistelrooy's had a chance for Stackington. And then coming forward, we got Blues on the attack yet again for one last chance, maybe. Agahauer's taken a yellow card, and Gamera has been booked as well for Stackington. And the final whistle, 1-1. I think that by the end of the game, I know I said in the first half that the Blues were on top, but Stackington probably the better side in the end.
Well, we could have probably ended the game after 60 minutes. It was pretty dull.
It was quiet, wasn't it?
But yeah, Stackington players perform better. You can see there, Keema, Gat, Ndiaye, Sergio, all an 8s, Nicky Franco on a 9. There's only really Van Nistelrooy who's had a good performance for the Blues. I mean, the worrying thing for both teams is the 6 yellow cards are being picked up, 3 for each side. So it's not been the greatest performance. It's been a bit of a scrappy game, particularly in the second half. But there was some entertainment in the first half.
And yet again, a team scoring their only shot on target. Yeah, they could do with improving that shot accuracy, which before the game was pretty good.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's you're not going to win games if you only score 1 goal in these matches. It's we see there's not a lot of clean sheets for a lot of teams, so you're going to have to score more than one to win them on a lot of occasions, other than Dangley's last game, obviously. But yeah, 1-1. I suppose it's a good result for Stackington, really, in the context of the league position so far. But Blues are going to be disappointed to have only picked up 1 point from the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's what I think about the Blues were top of the league and can see themselves falling out of the top 3 and out of the promotion contenders maybe. Well, they'll still be a contender obviously, but the positions maybe. So Van Nistelrooy, good work from Van Bommel. Yeah, Van Bommel's taken on 2 or 3 players there and played in Van Nistelrooy, and it was a good finish. Stackington, yeah, defence-wise, probably not the strongest other than the Njai performance, but they had something about them today, which had been missing in the early part of the season.
Yeah, they conceded a lot of goals early on in the league, so they are doing a little bit better. I still think they need to find the best team potential. I know they've had a change in formation from the start as well, but it's doing okay for them. But is it how they're going to perform for the rest of the season? We shall see.
25 goals conceded. Yeah, that must be a bit of a concern to Mr. Megahorse, to Mr. Me. But yeah, Blues in this one. Yeah, Van Nistelrooy, he does look like he's head and shoulders above the rest of the team.
Yeah, head, shoulders, and long face. Yeah, he's had a great performance. I mean, the rest of the team on sixes. West picked up a little bit, like I said earlier, in that second half. 10 tackles. It shows he was getting involved with things. They're just going to be disappointed that they didn't create too much.
Maybe that yellow card for Van Nistelrooy was just that he was a bit saddled with too much responsibility for the game, and just he's, he's just trying to do too much. I think maybe. Let's get into the next match, which is Trumpton versus Atletico Newmills. This was a game that we've been wanting to see. This is the battle between first and third. 1 point between them, 14 goals between them, due to the outstanding attacking prowess of Atletico Newmills. Their last game, a 5-2 win over Grove, which was tainted by the red card for Mikhail Silvestre.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not too much of a punishment having Silvestre sent off and suspended. They've got plenty of people in the squad who can do well, and it was only for the last 2 minutes of that game, so they had the game sewn up by then. I mean, their strength this season has been the shooter, hasn't it? With 125 shots is impressive for the opening number of games.
Yeah, not another team into the hundreds yet at all, is there? It's
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting lineup. I mean, El Manda, he must have picked a weak link out in the opposition.
It's to my knowledge, it is based on the Trumpton formation of last time. We'll see whether they've kept the same team going on, but they had an absence of a left back during the last match. Just taking a look at their stats for the season, then yeah, top in goals scored, top in shots on target. I mean, obviously these are huge things, but their shot accuracy, if they could put some more shots on target, just think of the number of goals they could be scoring. But they are averaging over 4 goals a game, and yet they've kept 3 clean sheets as well. Everything seems to be going pretty well for Big Noopy.
Yeah, great performances so far this season. They've done really well. I mean, I would be surprised if they could score more than 4 goals in this game away to Trumpton. But I've been wrong pretty much with all my predictions so far in my co-commentary throughout the season. So, so I'm going to predict a 0-0 and I hope for plenty of goals today.
Have you noticed the 76ers tactic has come into there? We've got the backwards run from Gattuso, which is being used. Seeing something positive about that, and a second team has brought it in.
Yeah, they've played well in there, haven't they? I mean, hopefully they didn't watch the second leg of the cup final where Milevski got sent off in there. But yeah, I mean, I suppose the only weak link I can say, and I say weak link in with a huge caveat really, is Delivio at left back, and I know I've picked him out before, but I don't see him as being an out and out full back. He's probably more of a defensive mid. So it'd be interesting to see who he's up against in the opposition.
Yeah, it's a good season for him, despite the fact it's maybe not his most natural position. 3 assists so far in his 5 matches, and
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a good player. It's just fullback's probably his defending is probably not his strong point. He's going
yeah.
forward and creating chances.
Oh, understood. Yeah, new contracts have been offered to the players here, and Trumpton Vice squad. So the last time the absence of a left back, today they've got a left back, and this is what they've gone for today.
Well, it's interesting to see, isn't it? I mean, football, or are they doing dancing instead of moving into different positions? It's I mean that I don't know what I could say about that really. I mean, I'm interested to see how Edgar Howard gets out there on the wide right forward. It's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, Kivu's going to have Almanda running at him all game as well, so hopefully he'll be able to cope against that, and the rest of them will just be doing it's effectively like synchronized swimming, isn't it? But you hope they're not swimming today.
It's a very sort of mathematical kind of work going on here from Barney McGrew. Yeah, Nesta will cover when Ferdinand goes forward, and everyone will sort of cover each other. Yeah, and then Duff quite isolated in that position. He's got a lot to do, as Mike Duff, hasn't he, on this right hand side?
Oh, he's not to run forward. He's just going to stay in that exact position and keep it solid at the back.
And watch everybody else dance.
But yeah, I mentioned that Delivio's left back for Atleti, so having Agahawa on that right forward position, that'll be really interesting to see if he can take advantage.
I wonder if he has spotted the link there. Maybe that could be absolutely deliberate against Delivio. Now, Trumpton Vice Squad, I mean, last time round, before the game, we thought, controversial formation, I don't think this is going to work, and it paid absolute dividends. This formation, do you think it's got enough?
Well, it's going to catch the opposition off guard, I think, hasn't it? I mean, we've already seen how Athletic set up their formation a little bit with the previous Trumpton formation in mind. So it's interesting. I'll give it that, and I wouldn't know how to defend against it immediately. So if they can get in front early on, then it's going to work a treat, isn't it?
I just cannot predict what's going to happen in this game. I'm looking forward to it and thinking two different styles going on against each other. I just want to get it going. Kenneth Peterson refereeing, and we shall start. From Camberwick Green, we've played the first few minutes. Players trying to work out what's going on, and Van Veron has had one of the early chances for Trumpton, and a chance for Athletic. Michael Hughes was involved, wasn't he? And Hughes again puts one just over the bar. He's certainly one of the most impressive players in the league this season.
He has been doing really well.
He certainly has, and we're going towards the half-hour mark, and Trumpton really trying to come forward at this point with a handball involved. Gattuso coming forward for Atletico Newell's. This is an entertaining 0-0 without too many chances to score. And a chance, and Van Nistelrooy makes it 1-0 to Atletico Newell's. He is having a fantastic day for the teams he's starting matches for.
Yeah, he is. It's hitting the back of the net in plenty of games, isn't he, so far? And again, he's proven the difference between the two teams on the pitch. It's not been the greatest of performances from either side so far. It's been a little bit cagey, as you'd probably expect from a top of the table clash, and he's made the difference.
I'll just check the goal. It's a free kick from Gattuso, and Van Nistelrooy just gets in there ahead of the goalkeeper. Very, very simple kind of goal. But Michael Hughes it was who won the free kick. Stat-wise, I mean, they both had 3 shots on target, and their passing seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, passing's decent for both teams, isn't it? Nearly 80%, and 3 shots on target each. It's again, it's probably just a case of making sure that they're having the plenty of shots, get them on target, and convert them to goals, which neither side have been the best at in terms of the shot conversion. But there's plenty of shots from both, and it could liven up a little bit more in the second half, particularly if any substitutions are to be made.
It will be a telling time for Trumpton, won't it, over this next 45 minutes. Agahawa looks like he may be withdrawn at this point for Trumpton.
Yeah, that's it. It looks like he's picked up a bit of a knock, doesn't it? It's I mean, he's probably one of the better performers, but yeah, no one else is really standing out there.
And we will just check the situation here. Yep, potential injuries. So we'll have a look. Agahawa, potential foot injury. He will come off, but we'll just have a quick check of what's going on for Atletico Newell's.
Amanda's probably tiring himself out, isn't he, running to that left back, and Gattuso's looking a little bit worse for wear.
So we shall see what is going on. The Agahawa move. Yep, that will happen. Just consulting the substitute Bible from Trumpton Vice Squad. With Agahawa coming off on that right hand side. I mean, is that a sort of Thierry Henry role?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anyone else on the bench who can play forward as such as the Rosicki's an attacking midfield centre. So having Henry up front and out wide is, although he's probably more natural than the left, is the best fit for the role out of those subs.
So Henry, if it's Henry, move him central. So that will happen there. So Henry to come on and move central. So looking at that way. Yeah, there's a whole load of instructions here. It works really well with the Trumpton changes. They are very thorough. That change has been made. And for Atletico Newell's, no plans for 45-minute substitutes. So the second half has started, and we've got a chance for Elmander. He's looking lively in his position, playing okay. And the team are just keeping themselves ahead, taking the ball to the opposition. And the substitutes now will go ahead for both teams. There's a dangerous chance for Atletico Newell's, I think, as we come back into the game. So their plans are for Trumpton. Just to check, we've got potential injuries or anyone under 83% or not playing very well. Everyone's playing at 84 and above. And everyone seems to be okay that way. So I'm just going to consult the old subs for the other bits for Trumpton. I think that everything else is going to be as it is. I don't think they'll make any changes at this point. I know Veron's not playing particularly well, but I don't think you take Veron off.
Well, Veron and Robin are both on sixes, aren't they? So I suppose Rosicki's on the bench. He could make an appearance for one of those guys. Not at the best tonight.
Just trying to work out what sort of formation. If short of a wide midfielder to bring on, yeah, I mean Robin could come off. Robin could come off, and then we would make the formation change, which has been set here. Of the it's obviously a bit of tactics that need just sorting out here. So, and Jai was playing. Where was Jai playing before?
Defensive mid.
In defensive mid, and Vieira was more central. So
Yeah.
he'll go into a central position. We've got that, and bring Rosicki on for Robin, and that will be the 4-1-3-2. Yep.
Yep, looks good.
There we are. And for New Mills, their substitutions for Atleti, we have got Sigalko, Ronaldinho as a change, but we do have two players who do need to come off here, don't we?
Well, yeah,
think.
I would, but I suppose it depends on the manager instructions, doesn't it?
Well, we could do. Yeah, there's nobody to replace Gattuso. Is it? No one can replace Gattuso at this position. Elmander
I
is
suppose
worn
Ibrahim
out.
Saeed couldn't it, if West Brown went into centre back?
And Barry Ferguson's coming on there into that position. And Gattuso, yep, the other one could be that one. So where's Brown? And who is that to move him to?
And Saeed.
Oh, it's Saeed, of course, yeah. That would make some sense there.
You're thinking the arrow should go to the strikers.
The arrow's going the wrong way, definitely. Yeah, I think that would make more sense than keeping that third substitute at the moment. I know there was a plan of Sigalko and Ronaldinho, but I think the pressing injuries are more important, aren't they?
Well, it's say you've got the instructions, so whatever you're happy with.
Yeah. Looking towards the potential injuries there, need to be coming off. So the last half hour, we've got that chance was pretty easily saved there by Costanzo. And it still seems like Newell's Atleti are just that little bit stronger, but Sigalko had a chance for Trumpton. Henri's coming forward. The change of formation has worked for Trumpton, and Veron has equalised. And now we are nicely poised for these last 20 minutes. Veron taking a yellow card for Atleti. Sigalko for Trumpton has another chance, and we are 1-1 with just a few minutes left. Is anybody going to get this breakthrough? A late chance. Barry Ferguson involved. Hughes involved as well. And then down the other end, Henri's missed, and we are 1-1 full time. A top of the table clash that cannot be separating the two sides. Kivu, man of the match.
Yeah, Key was putting a dominant performance against those players running directly at him. So it's backfired a little bit for Atleti in terms of that, because they've come up against a good performance, but it was innovative thinking from the manager. I think on reflection, both managers will probably be fairly pleased with the result to come away with without defeat. There's some good performances from individuals on both sides, particularly in defensive positions. But 1-1 probably seems to reflect the balance of the play. But stat wise, again, yeah, probably fairly similar. Trumpton maybe ever so slightly on top with a few more shots and a couple more on target. But I think either side will be a bit unlucky to lose it.
Yeah, I think both of them just having just about half the shots on target. I mean, Atleti restricted to just 9 shots on goal. That's quite a surprise, really, isn't it?
Well, it's unlike the previous performances, but Trumpton are a strong team. So yeah, that 9 is it's still a fairly decent number, isn't it, compared to what we've seen from some others.
Yeah,
But yeah,
certainly.
decent performances from both sides.
We're looking to the equaliser. So free kick to Trumpton, and Veron has flighted in the free kick and scored. It sounds like he's lobbed him.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's I mean, you've got to commend the Trumpton manager for his formation changes. But yeah, to keep Veron on the pitch was a good decision, and he's just
Yeah, it was a good tactical change. Nesta winning plenty of tackles, and Ferdinand winning the key tackles.
yeah, some. I mean, there's some strong defenders, isn't there, on there, and they were sharing the headers around between the first 4 at the back, weren't they, a couple each. But I suppose we've seen Veron dominating the shots, really, haven't we? With 5 shots, 3 on target. If a few more of those chances had fallen to Sigalko or Henri, we might be looking at a Trumpton turnaround.
Trumpton turnaround. It sounds like a nice special edition. And for Atleti, yeah, I mean, you did highlight the Delivio potential weakness. And he's got a 6, and he's only won 1 out of 6 tackles.
Yeah, I'd say he's not a bad player. He's just defensively they're not his strongest attributes. He's better when he's facing teams he can be more dominant against and go forward and provide assists and crosses as he has done so far this season. So when you come up against teams of the strength of Trumpton, particularly playing players directly against him early on in the game, then he's potentially going to struggle like he did. But there's some other good defensive performances. Said, Ferdinand, Gattuso all played well in defensive positions. Van Nistelrooy got his goal again, as he has been prone to doing tonight. Just be a little bit disappointed. I'm presuming that the midfield 3, Veron, Hughes, and Ronaldinho, who haven't been at the best, but we know that they've performed well so far this season, so they could be allowed a slight dip in form.
Yes, yeah, I think as you said before, both teams will be fairly satisfied that the other team haven't picked up more points than they have. Los Urracas away to Grove, and of course we saw Los Urracas heartbreak in their last match, defeat to the 76ers over the 2 legs, but some very decent performances about them. Their previous league game was the scraping through, as we've seen there, against the Danglies. It's a bit of a mixed bag for Urracas, and that sort of highlights that mid-table position.
Yeah, you don't want to scrape your danglies, do you? But the last 7 games have scored 2 or more, which is interesting. So it does show there's plenty of goals in the side. I mean, I do like the wing back formation with the wing backs bombing right on there, or bombing right on there. It's interesting to see the mixture of these, and I'll be interested to see if the performance in the cup have helped them in terms of keeping the fitness, and so that they didn't do badly at all in the cup finals, and lucky to lose out late on. Grove have had a 2.5 weeks off, so will they be more fresh, or will the Rackers just be in better fitness and form?
Plenty of questions from that. Certainly, this is an unchanged lineup from the cup second leg. Yeah, no changes being required there from Dan Hazard for today. It's a team that, in terms of their goals scored, they are scoring plenty, as you've mentioned before. No real weaknesses statistics wise. I don't think they're sort of in the top half or very close from all of those bits. It's interesting they're playing without a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, it is. It's something I don't know if this is the only team that play like that in the league, but I'm just looking at the Newcastle connection. There's 5 of them on the pitch and only 1 on the bench. So if we do see a couple pick up an injury, how will they keep up the playing 5 Newcastle players? That's the big question.
Now that will be then, because the Agahawa thing, we've got Robert suspended, Agahawa's been put in. Yeah, it would make more sense to return another player onto the bench from Newcastle, wouldn't it? And would you go for David Batty, or would you go for Patrick Cliver in this situation, or even a centre back of Jonathan Woodgate?
I'd probably put I'd probably put Woodgate on because they don't have a defensive mid.
They've already got a striker on there.
And they've already got
Yeah.
a striker on the bench, yeah. So it just gives them a few more options because Dyer is pretty versatile, isn't he? But if Woodgate goes on there, they can change things around a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, it was a good spot in terms of the Newcastle connection because the substitute, the fifth substitute, wasn't decided, and that was a league decision. So you're absolutely right to make the change there before kick-off. He'll obviously only be used in an emergency. There, the other four were named before the game, so Woodgate will come on.
Well, there's rumours that Dan Hazard might get the Newcastle job, so they're just wanting to make sure he's going to the principals of the squad there.
He is doing a decent job here. Yeah, cup final for this season. Laurent Robert still unhappy, of course, at Grove, who last game were beaten quite heavily by Atleti, but their season before that had reached a sort of a run of decent games. No wins, but 3 good draws.
Yeah, and they've scored in the last 6 games as well. So they have been performing better throughout the season. I do like the lineups of these with the Portsmouth connection. A little bit surprised that Andy Cole's still on the bench. I think we've had a spate of goals from substitutes. Dario Silva got a couple in 2 games as substitutes, then got a start, didn't score. Cole got 2 off the bench last time, and again he's off the bench. So maybe that's the tactic, is bring him on a bit later on and get the goals that way.
Yeah, play the one that you don't want to score, and then the other one will do. Grove, the most, I suppose, they are towards the bottom of the table in most of the key areas, but in terms of the number of shots they have and the number of goals they score, they are actually the 5th best team in the division.
Yeah, it's interesting, really. Really well, I think in the last few games, particularly getting draws against some of the bigger teams. 5-2 last game. They brought back down to earth with that performance against a good team, but they're capable of beating any team in the league on the day. Athletic are obviously a real strong team at the top of the league, but draws against 76ers round here and Dalgety Rangers are excellent results. So it could go either way, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say Aracas to win this one.
It's going with the form book. I would suggest you're probably right in that situation. Carl Carlson refereeing today. The one change for Grove was that Alexis Mertin has been brought in for Tim Sherwood, who now doesn't have a place on the substitutes bench.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Immediately coming forward, Sigalko with a chance for Aracas, and then it's a chance for Grove. Grove always managed to get some decent shots in at the early parts of games at the moment. They've been much more on the front foot. We had a warning for another player there, and it seems to be very, very much end to end. I'm struggling to keep up with what's going on. But at least the colours are easy enough to see. And Dario Silva with a chance just managed to get his leg onto it for Aracas. They are now on the back foot as Berkovic has come up with a chance. And then Alan Smith makes it 1-0 to Aracas against the run of play. Half an hour in, and he's now swinging back completely the other way. So Aracas seem to be the one taking all the chances, and then immediately we've got Grove coming onto it. If I say something the opposite is going to happen during this match, I'm pretty sure. Half time approaching, and a chance has been put wide, but they've got another one before Dario Silva. Wow, plenty went on.
Yeah, typical Magpies, really, just even and getting something against the run of play, because Grove had started off fairly well. They've been marshalled well at the back by another strong performance from Mario Yepes, who's been in great form in recent weeks, and Samble's playing well alongside him today. Sol Campbell again continues his run of form at the back for Grove. So it has been an entertaining game, and both teams seem to be playing all right.
Yeah, it has been entertaining. Plenty of stuff has gone on. We take a look at the goal. So Baumer's ball in has found Smith, who's played a 1-2 with Sigalko, and put it in. Some nice work for Alan Smith there for a change.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like him, is it? But it is on this game. So he's having a fine run of form.
13 shots, 5 on target, 1 goal from between the two teams. It's, like I thought, plenty of chances, but not a whole load of successful opportunities.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can change it in the second half. We've seen quite a night so far tonight in terms of goals, but this has been probably the best first half we've seen in the matches so far.
Let's see how Grove have been getting on then. Yeah, Sol Campbell winning plenty of tackles. He's been winning all of his headers. Smirtine looks that bit more solid than Tim Sherwood in midfield, as we've commented on. And Dario Silva looks a little bit worn out.
Yeah, he's a bit leggy, isn't it, up front? So we'd expect to see Cole potentially come on later on and get his customary goal from the substitute for the Grove manager. But yeah, again, it's you know, they've always had a defender performing well in recent weeks. Sol Campbell's doing that. It just need to start showing more up front.
They do. It seems to be, like you say, it seems to be the substitutes that happen. I think that at this point, Dario Silva will be hopping off and being replaced by Andy Cole. Yeah, he's got a potential knee injury. That substitute will happen at this point. For Grove, just checking. Yes, they are happy with the injuries at this point. For Rackers, I think we can see Sigalko is taking a knock as well.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? So you might see him replaced by Shearer at some point, whether it be now or later on. But everyone else seems to be in good health.
If he's injured, we'll. He's not injured, so we'll go at least to 60 and do the managed condition at that point. Yeah, 85. Most teams seem to want a little bit less to making substitutes at the moment, so we'll go to 60 minutes. But yeah, they are in front. They have had the slight better things. We haven't checked their stats for this game so far. Yeah, I think Sol Campbell would fit very well into that defence to replace Ronnie Johnson and make an absolutely solid back three.
Yeah, I mean, Jonsson's won his header, hasn't he? A key header too. So he didn't have the best performance in the first leg of the cup final. But I mean, everyone in the team's doing the bit in terms of tackles and headers, other than one man. Well, and Kieran Dyer's not won anything either, but Bowen was not even attempted either. And he's put his shot off target, so you'd expect a bit more from him with his quality in the second half.
Yes, second half is the teams are all out. They're ready. They're dancing around like to the Trumpton formation, and we'll get started. See if anything can happen early on. There's been a chance already, and Sigalko's coming forward, and Ronaldinho. And there we are, Sigalko, who didn't come off at half time. And I think that was, Dan Hazard will be absolutely delighted that his player just had enough energy to keep going. And Andy Cole's come off the bench and scored. It is 2-1. Typical substitute for Grove.
Well, do we bring on the other subs?
All of them at this point. Let's have a little look at what Grove are looking for. Well, obviously injuries. Anyone playing worse than a 6 and the worst of the attacking midfielders to come off. I mean, Teddy Sheringham there at 83% should be the one coming off, shouldn't he? Really?
Yeah, I'd probably have a look at match ratings just to confirm, just to see if there's no one that's standing out as any worse. But yeah, Sheringham's more tired than D'Alessandro, isn't he? So I'd take him off and see if Patrick can get
Burger
on.
can come on. In terms of other things, there's no one worse than a 6 or anything, is there? And the worst attacking midfielder has gone off, and there are no other injuries, so that will be the 2 subs being made for them at this point. Grove certainly still in the game. For Arakas, managing conditions, Sigalko at 80%. I think that's now the time to take him off to bring Alan Shearer on.
Yeah, he's got his goal and played well. But for the last half hour, you want some fresh legs on, don't you? And there's no better legs than Alan Shearer's.
Okay, we kick off, and I know it was a 59-minute substitute there, not a 60, but the clock might have been a little bit wrong. Well, Wilfred Baumer's taken a yellow card, and Ayel Berkovic has equalised. It is 2-2, and on the ascendancy now, Grove. It was, it's Andy Cole with his second goal. It's 3-2 to Grove. What a comeback! What a comeback this has been. We have a few minutes left, and Cole's chasing a hat trick. It's been unbelievable here. Cole's had another chance to score, and Patrick Berger, the substitute as well, makes it 4-2. What has happened? What has Shay Given been doing in that second half?
Oh, Shea Given's been performing like Newcastle have been performing in recent weeks, but it's great to see Andy Cole as an ex-Newcastle player come off the bench and get 2 goals. And Patrick Berger's joined him in scoring as well. So Grove continue their excellent recent record of substitutes coming off the bench and scoring. Great turnaround in performances, loads of 9s and 8s on there as well from Grove. So they've had a real strong second half, and they've been buoyed by the confidence of Shea Given not being able to save the ball with his lettuce wrists.
I think Lettuce is a bit strong. We look at the goals then. So it went to 2-0, didn't it, in the early part there? So Walter Samuel knocks it on, and Sigalko is there and just smashes it a goal and scores. But then that was as good as it got for them. John Curtis with the ball in towards Andy Cole, who takes it on and smashes it in with his left foot. Then we've got just a loose ball to Berkovic, who just pops it in. I don't really know what else to say for that goal. Then D'Alessandro plays in Cole, takes on Ronnie Johnson and turns him and scores. And late on, Patrick Berger getting above Shea Given. Why is he Given not using his hands and getting the height advantage? You got to wonder.
Shea Given's only 4'11", isn't he? So he might have stretched out, but he just couldn't quite reach against Patrick Berger and his long flowing locks.
Or 5'11" with negative arms, potentially. Yeah, I mean, all this action, 14 shots on target, 6 goals, 1 corner. I don't know whether that's just striking my attention there.
Yeah, I mean the headline really is the 4-2, isn't it? I think that would strike my attention more than one corner to one team. And yet again, my predictions proved wrong by saying Iraqis would win the game. But great performance in the second half from Grove, and I mean they've turned it right round, haven't they? Some excellent performances from the substitutes and from the rest of the team as well.
And for a Newcastle side to be let down, going down to the Grove in on their bikes all the way home, I imagine now. Grove, what a performance that second half. Sol Campbell still really dominant in the air. Smerteen kept up that performance, but Andy Cole, with 2 goals off the bench, Patrick Berger with 1. You did say the substitutes would have the impact, and they did. And I think Grove need to start with more players on the bench next game.
Yeah, Andrew Cole was outstanding tonight with his
Yay.
performance, with his 2 goals. But yeah, Sol Campbell's led the team from the back again. Another one with his Newcastle connection there, Sol Campbell. So the 2 best players on the pitch for Grove. Well, 2 of the 3 best players were ex-Newcastle boys. So that hopefully will be some comfort to Dan Hazard there.
And yeah, look at that. So wasn't one of the rest of the team on The Masked Singer or something recently as well?
Merson may well be. I was just trying to look at it's Merson, yeah, I believe so.
Then we've got, certainly there were rumours about some of them that turned out not to be them. But we have got a singer on the other side as well, Ronaldinho. If anyone's ever heard any of Ronaldinho's songs, he's quite an interesting singer as well. Have you heard any of his music?
I can't say I have, no.
Oh, well, I think that's what everyone needs to do after this game. If there's one thing that you learn from today, not that Grove have beaten Los Aracas, but Ronaldinho has got some songs and you can watch them on YouTube. Walter Samuel, 8 tackles, won 5 key tackles, but the team have still conceded 4 goals.
Yeah, I mean, Baumer had a header in the second half, which he won, but didn't do an awful lot other than that. Yeah, it'd be disappointing. I suppose that the game's turned, hasn't it, after the or just before the subject it started to turn really. But Dyer, Sigalko, and Smith all played fairly well. Samuel played well, but as the game went on, they got stronger, and unfortunately, Shea Given's wrist got weaker.
And the lack of a defensive midfielder maybe did show in that game. Final match of the day. This is one that you said you were looking forward to as well, didn't you? The Radaby Roundhay match. 9th place Radaby at the moment. 2-0 defeat last game to Rebo West with the red card, as you mentioned earlier. What do they have to do? I mean, obviously pick up points, but what do they have to do to get the break that they need?
They just need to start converting chances into goals. I think they've. I'm surprised with the strength of the lineup. They've not really scored too many this season, and they just need to have a change in form. I mean, it's a change of system, isn't it? There's plenty of people bombing forward from the midfield there. Interesting to see Nicky Franco and Collins on the bench, but no one's been performing too well from this season. I like the fact they've gone for a different formation, and hopefully that'll make a difference.
It's got to be worth the risk, doesn't it? It's a team with 13 goals scored, 12 conceded. But they are the best team at converting shots into goals. It's just that they're not having quite enough of them going on this season. You're right, Nikiforenko on the bench, yeah, dropped in favour of Ronaldinho. I don't think it's a form-related thing. I think it is just that Ronaldinho is available again and could offer something different. And yet, the changes with 4 long runs. We'll see how that goes for them today. Up against Roundhay, who are obviously higher up in the table. And they are 4th. Their last game was a 2-1 win over Gondor, which, I mean, the Gondor side, have they been performing better than expected? I mean, they just lost to Dangleys today.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the ratings of the players, Vieira, Van Nistelrooy both on 9, Riquelme on a 9, Smith, Perez, and Ferdinand Van der Sar on 8s. Roundhay played really well last game. Gondor just put up a spirited performance in opposition, but Roundhay took the 3 points.
And here's their team for today then. So it's quite a few of the usual players in. We've got a bit of rotation at right back again today. As Puyol steps back in, but it's strong, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good lineup. I suppose Puyol's probably the weak link, but he had a great career, didn't he? In real life, he's probably just not as strong on this as some other right backs. But I mean, it's an interesting bench, isn't it? There's not a great deal of attacking threat going forward, but there's plenty of attacking players on the pitch. Hopefully, this will be a real good game. But again, my prediction will be wrong so far. So what I'm going to say this will be 0-0 and really dull.
And for Roundhay, they're in the top 5 in all our areas that you can see on screen at the moment. They are the team, just as we've had Radaby being the best one at putting their chances away, Roundhay the best ones at getting their shots on target. And they are the team that like possession more than anybody else. They've been very, very comfortable with it. 2nd best attack and 3rd best defence versus Radaby, who have struggled to score goals of late. Steve Wright, of course, last night on the Red Nose Day special. What do you make of his performance then?
Oh, I thought without a shadow of a doubt, he's really good. Yeah, really enjoyed his performance. He spoke a lot of sense. He's probably the most sense he's spoken so far in his commentary. Apologies, but yeah, it was excellent. Yeah, real pleased to see him on there amongst the other stars.
Yeah, he's managed to get out of the green room today to manage his team into what is a really important game for them going forward. Peter Ekstrom refereeing, 16-degree weather, lovely. Off we go. We've got a chance immediately for Roundhay. They've come forward, and it's Lee Bowyer's had one disallowed for Radaby. It could have been absolutely sweet for them early on, but then back down the other end, Riquelme heavily involved, and now we've had a bit of a lull, which is probably what we'd expect after such an explosive start. Roundhay have had another chance, and then we have just periods of the play that just not enough is going on for either team. I would say that looking at the stats, Radaby look a little bit better with their attacking players than anybody else on the pitch. Bowie has had another chance to score, and Crespo with a chance of Van der Sar saves that one. 5 minutes to go till half time, and Roundhay trying to get the breakthrough before half time. And a chance for Rui Costa from a free kick, it did not pay off, and a late chance for Crespo. Half time 0-0. Now you did say 0-0, but you said boring, and I think it was fairly interesting in parts.
Yeah, Radaby have been on top so far. Good defensive performance from Sol Campbell for Roundhay, but Radaby do seem to be the better team just off what we see in the commentary.
Yeah, but shot wise, I mean, there's not been much going on. You can't really say anything about either team, to be honest. They're both. They're both just not really attacking with those final balls in and shots. Radaby very, very strong at winning their challenges, though.
Yeah, that's it. This has been Radaby's problem so far in the season, where they're just not shooting enough. They just need to work a few more chances. And that they have got players further back today, haven't they, running forward? So maybe they just need a little bit more creativity from those as they get used to the new system. But there's plenty of people on that pitch who can score.
Yeah. Do you feel that the system has been working so far?
He's doing all right, yeah. Most players are playing well. There's probably only Nesta not doing so much, but he's got everyone around him helping out. So he's not had to do too much himself. Won both his tackles, won one of his headers. So it's not been a disgraceful performance. Lee Boyers had the ball in the back of the net, but was disallowed. So yeah, you can't ask for any more than that. They've kept a clean sheet so far, and if they can start to build their attack in the second half, Tomasi's played really well. 7 out of 8 tackles, patrolling that in front of that defence. So plenty to be pleased with.
Plenty to be pleased with. A good strong message heading into the second half for Radaby. For Roundhay, yeah, I think they're just lacking it a little bit further forward. The defence is holding out fairly solidly.
Yeah, it's possibly just the way the opposition defence has played, isn't it? Just keeping them a little bit quieter. But yeah, Sol Campbell with 4 out of 4 key headers. Rest of the defence putting the tackles in. Campbell's not managed to make any successful tackles himself. But yeah, it's been a bit scrappy so far. Both teams just need to show a little bit more going forward, and if they keep up the intensity of that first half, then who knows? But either team could still win this.
There's certainly some hope for both teams. Nobody out of that one so far. I am just checking whether there are any substitutions to make before we get back on with the game. And apologies. We are absolutely fine to go on to the next part of the game. At this point, there's a 60-minute for both teams potentially. Okay. Straight away, we've got Roundhay on the attack coming forward, and then back down the other end of Veron has had a chance for Radaby. And it comes forward again for it's just constantly end to end swinging backwards and forwards without necessarily chances at the end of either attack. Crespo's hit the crossbar, and we go into substitute times. I wouldn't say they're struggling, would you? I wouldn't say that Radaby was struggling at 0-0.
No, I suppose it just depends what they want out of. If they're comfortable with a draw against a team who've been performing well, then fine. If they want to go for the chances, then it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that's classed as struggling. I think it is 0-0. They're doing okay. For Roundhay, they just want to look at potential injuries. So is Joe Cole potentially injured? No, he's not. Rui Costa, no. And I mean, would you check anyone else? Probably not.
No, not in terms of injuries, I don't think.
So both teams will just continue as they are for the last few minutes. A chance again this time for Radaby. They are looking like they're a little bit stronger at this point in the game, but I've been wrong on lots of predictions today. And coming forward now, Rick Helmer was involved for Roundhay. The ball coming back forward again for Roundhay, and a yellow card for Cannavaro. And there is Sol Campbell for Roundhay. 80 minutes or so into the game, 1-0. This is the form that just takes them further and further up the league, and Radaby unlucky, but they are trying to get back into the game and not finding the chances. And one last attempt, and it is an equaliser from Ronaldinho in the 93rd minute. Unbelievable scenes as the fans go wild. Well, what an end.
Yeah, it's a good end to the day's performances. I think Radaby would have been unlucky to have lost that one. It was Roundhay were on top a little bit at the start of the second half, but Radaby were probably just shaded the other part of the second half, and you can see from the player ratings that they had the better players on the pitch. So I think 1-1's probably a fair result. I don't think either team did so much to win the game. But yeah, some decent performances. That change of system from Radaby, you can see there's some good performances on there. So whether that's the one to go with, a few more shots in the second half, a few more on target, but neither team in double figures for shots this time.
No, neither team in double figures, but certainly was a lot more lively in the second half than the first. I think for Steve, that will feel like a win. coming from behind in that last bit after such a bad run of form.
Yeah, I think any time we go into the last 10 minutes behind, it's you're always pleased not to have a defeat. So to get an equaliser so late on, I mean, Sol Campbell with his goal there, smashing in low on his right foot. He led from the back, didn't he, for round here?
Yeah, he's been a player that, you know, this league has really benefited from the Sol Campbells that there are in terms of defensive quality. Let's see what's happened there right at the end of the game. Puyol to Rui Costa, but yeah, headed by Cannavaro up the pitch. Toldo has gathered it, so yeah, not much has happened there. Blah 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 blah. Ranaby had the ball with Kewell. Kewell plays it to Veron. Veron plays it back towards Kewell, but Tomasi's gathered it instead. And he's played it in towards Kewell, who's crosses it in, and Ronaldinho gets the header. Well, it seems a bit scrappy, but then they've pulled out something decent from it, and Van der Sar unable to do anything about it.
It does say a wonderful Rugby FC move, to be fair, but you know, after Ronaldinho's got that late equaliser, he'll be going straight on
Oh,
of him singing.
you cut out there. Can you just repeat that for us there?
Well, I'm just saying how thrilled Ronaldinho will be with his late equaliser. He'll get in that dressing room, stick his tunes on, and sing to the rest of the team.
Let's hope so. I think we do need to make sure there's a link of a Ronaldinho song for everyone to see this week. Tomasi, absolutely vital as man of the match.
Yeah, some great tackles. 11 out of 14. One, but was it a Ronaldinho header for the goal? Because
It
I
was
think it was, wasn't it? And
his
that's just
only
one
header.
of his 9 headers. Yeah, he's
This is the Ronaldinho that just constantly jumps in the air and doesn't make much contact with the ball, isn't it? But he's done it this time. He's had his header, but is the header actually classed as a shot rather than a header in the end? I don't know.
That's a deep question to finish on, isn't it?
There'll be someone who can tell us. There'll be someone who knows exactly what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, superb performances. Milevski winning so many key tackles. Ronaldinho with some key passes. Just for a change, you know, the team are looking back towards the way that they should do. Because, you know, beating Roundhay, I mean, that might have been quite a lot to ask. Roundhay are very good. But I think both teams will look at that, and Roundhay will be gutted with the end product, but the overall result they'll be fairly happy with, away to a decent side.
Yeah, they've not been at the best, but they've still picked up a point away to a strong team. Good defensive performances for Roundhay, and Ronaldinho did play well. I mean, he got 5 out of 8 headers, including 2 keeper for Roundhay, so he's making the difference there. Just needed a bit more through the midfield, I think, today.
Yeah, I mentioned how good Sol Campbell was with his performance and his goal, and then realised he's won a quarter of his tackles during the game. But obviously, he's heading 5 key headers at that point. Yeah, it was a good way to finish for the day, to have that last minute drama in the last minute of the last match. So the results, and here's a classified check with Jeff Ruppet. Thank you, thank you, Mr. Megahorse. Sons of Gondor 0, FC Dangleys 1, Grove Imperials 4, Los Urracas 2, The Oatcakes 0, FC Dynamo 76ers 2, No Place I'd Rather Be FC 1, Roundhay Park Avenue 1, Real E No Chance 0, Dalgety Rangers 3, Stackington Colliery 1, Dublin Blues 1, Trumpton Vice Squad 1, Atletico Newmills 1. Thank you, Mr. Uppett. We'll have a look at the league table now. A great day for, well, it's not really a home or away day, is it? Just one home win, actually. So the aways have probably come out a little bit better. And we have Atletico Newmills top of the table on their 20 points. But look at that. 3 teams behind. Dalgety Rangers, Dublin Blues, Trumpton Vice Squad, all on 19.
Yeah, Atleti will be pleased to still be on top after the draw today, but it's concertinaed up a little bit there, hasn't it? And I think the rest of the league will be fairly pleased with that. Well, from eighth upwards, it gives them all a chance to collect closer, doesn't it? But it's that gap again from 8th to 9th. It's stretched to 6 points now, hasn't it? So it's really looking like probably 3 different sections here: the top 4, the middle 4, and then the bottom lot.
Well, to be honest, I think we've probably got another section down below.
Yeah, the dangly section.
All the dangly bits. Dangly's off the bottom of the table. I mean, Wood'll be getting a nosebleed with how high his team is at the moment. He's not used to having a team that isn't bottom of the table in any competition. But very, very well played to the Danglies today with their valuable win with their only shot. The Oatcakes still sit bottom of the table on no points, but look at Grove's result there. It's put them right up there with Radaby and Stackington. This is going to be quite the battle. And to be honest, after their defeat last time and going 2-0 down, I thought it was all over for them. So stupid performance for Stu Fanson's team, getting mixed up with words, but it worked out quite nicely. Into next fixtures, we have got again another battle at the bottom of the table. In fact, the bottom 6 are all playing each other, so that'll be interesting. And we've got a battle again for the 3rd consecutive round. We've got first versus third.
Yeah, it should be a big game. Blues against Athletic. I'm looking forward to the mid-table clash of 76ers versus Real E. That looks like it'll be an interesting game. There's plenty of good fixtures on there. Gondor and Grove. If Grove can get another win after tonight's excellent performance, that'll really close the gap on the teams above them. Gondor, it'd be nice to see if they could get a win too, because they dominated the game today and couldn't get a point. And Stackington against Otis. Can the Otis get the first point?
Stick your neck out on this one. Who's going to be top at the end of the next round?
Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? I'm going to go for Athletic. I think that the performances they've shown so far, they've been resilient, and I think that the fact that a lot of the top teams are playing each other, I don't think there's going to be too many wins. If it's draws, Athletic will still be on top, and I fancy them to maybe nick an away win next week.
The game that is attracting the most media attention is FC Danglers versus Danglies versus Radaby FC. There might be a special feature on that one next week. Hoping to do something about that. We shall see. But quick check on the average ratings. Van Nistelrooy still there for Atletico Newmills at the top there. We can see lots of Patrick Vieira's in the top 10. Goals wise, Van Nistelrooy is 3 ahead of anyone now. Michael Hughes and Van Nistelrooy next up on the list. It is the Van Nistelrooy show, isn't it? Here, goals conceded. David James at 25, but he's not. It's obviously not the team with the worst defence. Penalties, there weren't any today, and Saeed is leading the way. Assists, Riquelme is up to 6, followed by Gattuso for Ron and Van Nistelrooy. Into yellow cards, Patrick Vieira with his 5. Was he suspended today? Or did he play for Blues? I can't remember.
I don't remember. He's probably suspended most weeks, isn't he? So
it's hard to tell. There must be a Vieira suspended every week. Cannavaro and West following on. And in red cards, today I don't think we had a red card.
2 for Taribo West though this season.
I thought you were going to say 2 for Taribo West today, but yeah. Van Nistelrooy still on 3 man of the matches, just ahead of Steve Phillips amongst others. And just a quick check for this one. Who's put the most tackles in? It is Neil Aspin of bottom place, the Oatcakes. Okay, so the next round of fixtures for Division 2 will be played next Saturday night. A reminder of those fixtures for you. Thank you very much, Quinton.
Thank you.
And of course, you'll be back again playing on Tuesday night for the Division 1 games. And we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.